it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines we have pays tribute to the memory of the late Anglais Yabe. For the international scene in Afghanistan, the toll from suicide attack in Kabul rises to 24. Welcome to our newsroom. The posthumous tribute by the President of the Republic to the memory of the late Anglais Yabe, former mayor of Djibouti. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, paid a vibrant tribute to the memory of the late Anglais Yabe, a public figure known for his many high offices he previously held in the national administration, who passed away last night in France. In his posthumous tribute, President Guelleh paid tribute to the memory of the High Commissioner of State, who always carried out with brilliance and professionalism the missions and responsibilities entrusted to him during his long career. His open-mindedness and his propensity to always favor consensus to the detriment of a particular interest were other qualities and ethics that were added to his masteries of administrative master, said the head of state. His modesty and simplicity illustrate his greatness of heart, his humanism and his kindness. Also stressed the President of the Republic, imploring God to welcome the deceased former Djiboutian leaders in his eternal paradise. The late Anglais Yabe was a personality very well known and much appreciated by Djiboutians. These honorable fathers, whose children were also successful, held during his long career important positions in the ministries of interior. He also served as a mayor of Djibouti. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We learned with dismay and deep sadness the death of the first mayor of the city of Djibouti, the late Anglais Yabe, alias Ali American. He died yesterday, Saturday, October 24, around 2020, around midnight in France. Great patriot and great clerks of state. The nation of Djibouti has just lost one of his illustrious sons. Born in 1947 in Djibouti, Anglais Yabe is a Djiboutian politician and emblematic figure of the Republic. Anglais Yabe becomes territorial administrator in the 60s to Ali Sabih. It is there that he began a very long career. A few years later, he was appointed commissioner of the Dakhel district, where he played as a decisive role in managing the arrivals of Ethiopian soldiers fleeing the Mengistu regime toward our borders in his vicinity of Dakhel. A few years later, he was appointed commissioner of Obok district. There too, he will distinguish himself by the righteousness, his intelligence, and his wisdom. Thanks to his professional careers as a high-ranking civil servant accomplished with dedications of loyalty, he was appointed Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior before being appointed President of the Independent National Election Commission in 2003 during the legislative elections, and in 2005 during the presidential elections. He was appointed the head of CENI. Let us recall that he won his place as president of CENI after a vote. Anglais Yabe was also a member of the Central Committee of the RPP party and chaired the decentralization commissions at the time. In 2006, President Ismail Omar Guelleh once again called upon Anglais Yabe to lead the RPP party list in 2006 municipal and communal elections against several political parties, PSD, PND, PRUD, and several lists of civil society movements such as the citizens movement. It must be recognized that Anglais Yabe led and directed the battles of these elections with skills, cohesion, and ardor. He won the 2016 municipal elections with a crushing victory. He was invested along with all the elected officials of the time who accompanied him, sometime later to the people's place by His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. The official installations in 2008 of the first mayor Ali Ismail Yabe of the city of Djibouti was organized in a very festive atmosphere and before all the high dignitaries of the countries and diplomatic representations resident in Djibouti. We pay tribute to his intellectual, humanist, and inalterable. We pay tribute to this politician who led public actions of a very high quality and sobriety in public life. As it is rare, Ali Ismail Yabe is a benevolent man. He has always embodied a policy of transparency, good governance of society. He has always wanted to revitalize democracy. He is one of the rare great Djiboutian politicians. We pay tribute to this statement of fuel of conviction. He is recognized as a political innovator and a man of rallying. He has always chosen to break with closed ideologies and the spirit of sectarism. He has always wanted political life to take into account the economic and social realities of citizens. Ali Ismail Yabe is a man of progress, a servant of general interest. He is a man whose courage has enlightened actions. All his life he has mobilized for justice and equal opportunities. He was aware that transparency and good governance are the very foundations of our social model. We salute a man who made compromises only to get to the essentials. As a mayor, he combined pragmatism in the means with the intransigence in the objectives. His method was one of dialogue and compromise. He is a great figure of our republic. He will remain an example of righteousness, intelligence, and ardor, a militant for decolonization, then for decentralization, citizens of the world. He also became a pioneer of good governance and democracy. The Prime Minister chaired this morning at the People's Palace a meeting of the Debt Committee in order to better outline a national public debt strategy. This is a rather difficult task that requires the mobilization and commitment of all stakeholders around the broad consensus that is the national debt policy. As you know, this debt committee was created by presidential decrees on April 2019 and is part of the reform measures carried out by the government to ensure better control of the public debt. This body is responsible for the development, coordination, implementation, and monitoring the national public debt policy. The main tasks of this committee are to coordinate and monitor all actions and initiatives related to the public debts, ensuring implementation of the public debt management strategy and the government's objectives for the sustainability of public finances and public debts. This is why, by deciding to adopt a national public debt strategy, the Republic of Djibouti will be able to ensure debt sustainability given by high risks of indebtedness, but also by adopting a law on public debts, on establishment on explicit debt anchor in the formal of a public debt GDP ratio. The challenge is therefore important because it is to promote foreign direct investment through the authority willingness to promote the development of Djibouti. The Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti received this morning the visit of the trade mission from the Russian federations, including the city of St. Petersburg. The delegation led by the ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti in Russia, Mohammed Ali Kamil, was received by the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti, Yusuf Moussa Dawale, as well as the office of these institutions and senior officials of the Chamber of Commerce. The president of the Chamber of Commerce of Djibouti, Yusuf Moussa Dawale, welcomed the delegations of businessmen and recalled the place of Djibouti, which is located, he added, on the busiest shipping route for the transport of goods through this port infrastructure and free zone. For his part, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Yusuf Moussa Dawale, welcomed the trade relations between the business community of Russia and Djibouti and confirmed the commitment as an institution representing the private sector of Djibouti. The gendarme of Dakhil Brigade managed to get their hand on an excisor who proceeded to genital mutilations of a 10-year-old girl. Indeed, gendarmes at the security post at Shekho Hospital in Balbala arrested a woman who had admitted her 10-year-old daughter to the hospital's emergency room after she bled to death following genital mutilation performed in the mornings around 8 a.m. The little girl was immediately admitted to the operating room. Faced with such a situation, the National Gendarmes undertake to use all its power to arrest the perpetrators of female genital mutilations, practices that unfortunately take place in Omerta. This is why the help of the populations is more than ever required to eradicate these scourges once and for all. Senior Gendarmes Mariam Ahmed Ofle, the commanders of the Gender-Based Investigations Brigade, gave a brief intervention on this subject. In her turn, Fozia Ali Usman, Director of Family in the Ministries of Women and Family, concluded with her speech. Finally, Ms. Saharla Hassan Ali, coordinators of the listening unit of the UNFT, also intervened to support this case. The Embassy of India celebrated yesterday a flag-raising ceremony of India and United Nations at the residence of the Indian Embassy resident in Djibouti for the 74th anniversary of United Nations. The ceremony was attended by the Indian Ambassador, Mr. Ashok Kumar, as well as UN Resident Coordinator, Miss Barbara Menzi, who coordinators in Djibouti. Dr. Ahmed Zwitan, India considers its membership in United Nations as an important guarantee for the maintenance and international peace. The World Health Organization, through its offices in Djibouti, has granted a large batch of equipment, insecticide products, and consumables to strengthen the fight against malaria in Djibouti. The receipt of these batches of insecticide was made by the director of CAM, Dr. Ahmed Hussein Miguel, in the presence of the WHO representative, Mr. Dr. Ahmed Zwitan. This is a second batch of 10,000 packets of insecticide that will be used in the next indoor spraying campaign that will be conducted in all districts at the high risks of malaria. In his intervention, the director of CAM, Dr. Ahmed Hussein Miguel, thanked WHO for these gestures which greatly contribute to the success of this indoor spraying campaign. Summer camp 3-round sessions. After having organized 2 editions, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports organized a thirst to confirm the adage is never without 3. It is therefore the young people of the neighborhoods of Balbala will not benefit from the services of the Community Development Center that have been privileged like the predecessor. They will spend a 3-day stay rich in discoveries and teachings. They will be able to benefit from a guided tours in the forest to contribute to the cleaning and planting of trees, but above all to take advantages of the climate that this region offers. The young people arrived around noon in the company of the head of the department, Mr. Ahmed Ali, the director of CDC, Mr. Abdallah Taha, as well as the woman ambassador. The sub-directorate organized a sports day and other activity at the CDC of Tajura as part of its program for the school year. So the sports complex of Tajura organized an omnisport day that brought together more than 600 young people from different categories and divided by discipline. The sports included handball, basketball, volleyball, speed, and the swimming, all categories. First of all, there was the parade of the clubs participating in the handball competition composed of girls and boys. Then the first match of women handball was kicked off, which included 10 clubs. Also, it was the same for the boys club, which also had 10 teams. After handball, the sub-directions launched the kickoff of basketball within its own organizations, where 8 clubs participate. Finally, it was the turns of volleyball that ended the first part of the event, with the kickoff of volleyball, which alone has 6 boys and girls clubs. These omnisport days of a sports complex where collective games are the spotlight, with the aim of lighting against juvenile delinquency and school dropouts, and also allows young people to keep busy during the school vacation. In his speech, the prefect of the region, Hassan Dabale Ahmed, recalled that civism is the foundation of all the cardinal virtues of the Republican spirit and constitute a main spur for the emergence of a coherent mentality more involved in the process of regional development among young people. For the international scene, Afghanistan, the death tolls of the attacks of the Islamic State attack rises to 24, with one of Al-Qaeda leaders killed. The balance sheet of the suicide bombing committed by Islamic State on Saturday in Kabul noises to 24 deaths, the government announced, while Afghan special forces killed an important leader of Al-Qaeda, also wanted by the United States. On Saturday, a suicide bomber blew himself in the alleyway leading to an education center in the west of the Afghan capital when he was spotted by guards. The attack had been claimed by the Islamic State on its social networks account. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.